right, we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my special guest, we have UFC Hall of Famer Frank Twinkle Toes Trigg. How you doing today, Frank?
I'm good. Yeah, it's a nice sunny day here in Southern California, so I can't complain. I already got my workout in and a couple meetings today, and then time to cook dinner. So it's been a good day so far. Yeah.
Sounds good, man. That sounds good. And again, I like your little backdrop. I see you got Frank Trigg, Twitter and stuff, and that's awesome.
Yeah, the UFC put that up. I don't have it. It's a little skewed, but the UFC put it up, and we got into the Hall of Fame. And that was like our when we were autograph signing. That was our big placard to say, hey, this is who's at the table. Come get an autograph, whatever.
Cool. And that's awesome, man. And I know you're still heavily involved in mixed martial arts, obviously.
Yeah. After this, we have our weekly Zoom meeting with the California State Athletic Commission. So the moment I get off with this, I immediately have to go turn on, and a bunch of us from all over the country. It's run by California, and Andy Foster is the executive officer, and he runs where we'll get on a Zoom meeting like this, and there'll be whatever 100 of us, and then we'll review particular rounds of fights that are very difficult to score, and then we'll judge them and see how we were, what improvements we can make, how good is our judging, so it's to keep us active, even though we can't be active right now. California still doesn't have any fights going on. Bellator was supposed to come back here at the end of the month, but the rumor is that Bellator is actually going to go to the East Coast for the first 5-6 fights back.
Okay.
Just because they can't, it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
This is the problem with California, is that it's very expensive to run fights here. And so if you don't have fans that can sit in the seats, you don't make any money. There's no way to do it, to do audienceless fights here that are cost effective as of right now. They're still trying to formulate how it's going to work out. So, but right now we're on the shelf. All of us are sitting, except for Herzog. He works the UFC a lot, and he's licensed in Nevada, so he works quite a bit when they go to Nevada Apex. I don't know who they're bringing over to UFC. Who UFC's bringing over to Fight Island?
Yeah, that's why I was wondering. Did you get that invitation? Because again, I know you did it.
No. So it's like let's take football for example. It's like your rookie season. Your rookie season, it's very rare, if at all, and it never happens in reffing, in judging. Happens a lot more in the actual competitors. Your rookie year, you don't start usually. Usually you're on scout team, or there's a few guys that start, but those are the ones. Oh no, but this guy started. But that's the top 1%, 2%. Majority of the guys that come in the rookie season aren't playing. They're playing a little bit. They're not playing a lot. They get a couple downs here and there, right? Well, that's kind of what reffing's like. Reffing, you start at the very bottom, right? So the very bottom, you have no fights ref. You have nothing going on. You're starting an amateur. This is how California works. I have to get 100 amateur bouts in before I can even talk about applying for my pro license. So I have to do 100 amateur bouts first, and that might take you 2 or 3 years to get those 100 bouts in. Then you get to start at the bottom of the pro circuit. So you're at the very bottom of the pro circuit. So when I finally got a UFC, which was 4 years ago, I think now, maybe it was only 3 years ago. I can't remember the date, but it was Cub Swanson versus Brian Ortega was the main event, and I was on that card. And everybody's like, "Oh wow, it's great to see Trigg reffing. It's great to see Trigg reffing." I'm like, I've been reffing for 5 years. So you guys just don't. It's just amateur stuff. It's pro stuff that's not on TV, so you don't know. People just don't know. And I was like, "Oh look, he's in the cage." And then, but that's a fight night. I did I had 3 fights that night, and they all were before the main card. And then so the main card hits, I'm done. I'm just sitting around hanging out, watching the fights. Now I'm finished.
Gotcha.
So to go to Fight Island, to fly a referee in, do you want a referee that you think can do the job, or do you want a referee can do the job?
Definitely.
So if you've got Goddard, Beltran, Herzog, Dean, and Trigg on your roster, who are the 4 guys you're flying in? You're not flying Trigg in because these other guys have 400, they have 200 championship rounds reffed each.
Okay.
Each of them. And you're like, well, these guys we know in tough situations they can do it, so it's better bang for your buck to bring in the guys you know. Right now, they're not sure what I can do, so I'm not traveling. They're not flying me in, and that's how it is for everybody in the country at my level. You're not flying. You're just not. I got flown for Bellator to work in Hawaii. because I'm also licensed in Hawaii. I lived there for 4 years, so
Okay.
I have a licensing. I'm licensed there to ref and judge. And I went out and did Bellator last December. The first night I judged, the second night I ref. And that's how it works. Like it takes a long time, 15, 16, 17 years before you start traveling. Like you understand how long Goddard has been actually reffing and Beltran has been reffing. Like these guys have been doing it for like almost 2 decades. And they're just now starting to get traveled.
You know what I just don't understand is that obviously you were a fighter back then, so I think you would have more leverage, wouldn't you, at all? Even though you've been there, this. I mean, that just makes sense. Like I just thought about it. Like, why would you?
Here's the reality. This is the reality. Ask Tom Brady what the line judge is looking to do, and he's going to tell you he has no idea what the line judge does. He has no idea. It's not his wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. He is position specific. He knows he gets the ball. He's got a 1-step, 2-step drop. He's got to get rid of it. Yep. He's got 1.5 seconds at the most before he has to have that ball in the air, right?
Yeah.
So that's all he knows. He doesn't know anything else. When I first got into reffing, I jumped into it specifically because there is a problem with reffing and judging.
Absolutely.
And I saw one of my friends was going to get hurt, or one of my friends is going to hurt somebody severely because the ref doesn't know what to do. And then I would see these really hard-fought battles, and the scorecards would be 30-27 the other way. You're like, what the hell are you guys looking at? Is because there's a grappling affair, and these guys are strikers, the judges are strikers. They don't know what's going on. Yep. Like, oh, that guy looked like he was on top.
It looked like he was winning, yeah.
They have no idea. They don't know what they're looking at. So I got into it because of that reason. Started specifically for fighter safety. Got in there. It was like, I'm going to take Bijan McCarthy's command course. That's his reffing course. That's how you get certified. Most jurisdictions now, you have to either pass Herb Dean, Dan Murgliata, an ABC course, something. You have to pass one of those courses before you can go ahead and get your license to apply for pro. Like you have to have these things. And so which makes sense because you want to show your dedication to it. I went to John's first course. He's like, I'm going to kill this course. I'm a fighter. I fucking know exactly what's going on. This is going to be easy. Failed it miserably. I literally had no idea what the rules were. I had no idea. I still listen to commentators. I listen to corners. I talk to corners. I talk to coaches. And most of them, honestly, don't know what they're looking at. They have no idea what they're looking at as far as how a judge refs, or excuse me, how a judge and what the refs are doing when they're in there. I honestly have no idea. But you don't need to, right? The assumption is you're going to win in such a devastating manner that the judges don't even matter. Like it's going to be 50-45 the other way. I'm going to win all 5 rounds of this championship out. It's going to be, so there's no reason to even know what the judges do because they're not going to be a real factor. It's not going to be close.
I understand.
Or I'm going to knock them out, TKO them, submit them. Like it's going to be a finish. So it's going to be decisive. And what's the ref looking for? It doesn't matter. I don't cheat. I don't do anything wrong. So it doesn't matter what the ref does. So a lot of people just don't know because they're sport specific. You don't really need to know what the ref is doing because we're there for fighter safety. We're there to call fouls. If you know what the fouls are, and if you know that you're a safe fighter, it doesn't matter what I do then because I'm not involved. I don't really do anything. The best fights I have are the ones where guys are like, hey, remember this? Were you there for my championship fight? 3 months ago when I fought blah blah and I beat this guy, and now because of that fight I'm in the UFC. I'm now got called up by the UFC. Or I just got called up and now I'm in Bellator. Like, yeah, I kind of remember it. Like, well, what'd you think about blah 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 blah? I'm like, I was your ref, man. I was in a cage. He's like, what? You're my ref? I mean, like, who was your ref? They're like, and they have to go online and look and go, holy crap, you're my ref. Like, I did my job.
You didn't bother him. That's it.
Totally was a blank figure. That's what I gotta be. So it's very difficult. And people say this all the time, and it really irritates me. Oh, yeah, we should have more ex-fighters be judges and refs because they know what they're looking for. They don't know. Most of the guys don't know what they're looking at. It's a different skill level. You have to be trained in it. Now, yes, do most, if not all, NFL referees have played football at some level. May not have been college, but they played at some level. Sometimes they have an understanding of the game. And then when they finally make the Super Bowl, it's not a new group of refs and judges and umpires for the Super Bowl. Right. It's the best of all the pros that get invited in. So it's like it's the best of the best in each position get invited in for the Super Bowl. Well, how do you get there? It's not 6 months of work. It's some of these guys, 30 years they've been refereeing. 30 years. They're like, oh yeah, I finally got the call up to the big show. You're like, 30 years you've been doing this job. I was like, what's your real job? Oh, I'm a judge. I'm an attorney. I'm a police officer. I work for DOD. I'm like, what the living hell? Like, yeah. Like that's my real job. This is just repping and umping, and in any field, it's your secondary job. Now, of course, boxing refs get paid more depending on the size of the card. Umpires get paid more in baseball. Referees in basketball get paid more. Everyone gets paid more than the MMA ref. That's the game. So sometimes you talk to these guys like, oh, last year, as a ref, well, I did the Super Bowl, I did 3 playoff games. I made $400,000 total throughout the whole season, including the playoffs and the Super Bowl. I made $400,000. I'm saying a number, guys. Don't think it's the real number. I don't know what the real number is. I'm just saying a number. You're like, yeah, but what's your other job? Like, well, my other job, I make $400,000 too, being a judge. It's like, I make $400,000 too, being an attorney. You're like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, it's a weekend job. It's what I do on the weekends. I'm like, wow. Okay. So it's reffing and judging is very difficult. It's not always built. Like I've seen a lot of pros, ex-pros, come through John's course and pass the course, go and start reffing into or judging, and be like, it's not for me. I'm out. Because it takes a long time. When you first start, you're making $100 a night at the amateur level. You might ref 6 or 7 times. And you got to be there at 5 o'clock. You don't get out till midnight. You're making $100, and it's 100 miles. It's 50 miles from where you live.
Oh wow!
You have to drive 50 miles. You have to be there at 5 o'clock. Work until midnight. Get back in your car. Drive back 50 miles. You made $100. You're like, well, that sounds. Some people are like, oh, that's great. It's $10 an hour. Blah blah. And you're like, it's not great because the guy I ref tonight was 6-0. Now he's 6-1.
Gotcha.
And I really had to step in. I had to do some stuff so this guy was about to be 7-0, about to get the call up. Now he's not getting the call up. And so it was like, I just heard this guy's a chance for making money. I didn't hurt it. I did my job correctly, but this is the burden. Like, this is the burden of the amateur. Is it worth $100? A lot of guys are like, no, it's not. Yeah. I've seen guys like Ray Allen. He's taken John's course twice because he wants to pass it so bad because he wants to ref and judge. And now he took it twice. He passed it, and now he's working at the amateur level in California. Same thing with Chris Leda. They're working at the amateur level to get their way through. So it's very difficult to start, especially. Let's talk finances. Let's say you make $100,000, 50 and 50 when you fight.
Okay.
Right? You show up, you warm up, you drink a little Gatorade, eat a little food, you made weight, a great training camp. You get there, you fight, you're done. You made $100,000, you go home. Okay?
Okay.
We show up at whatever, hour before the first fight, hour and a half before the first fight. We have physicals we got to do. We have to do our pre-fight conversation with the fighters.
Okay. And
then we'll fight, and the most we can possibly make is, I've never made it, I think it's New York now, it's $2,200 for a main event. It's the last fight of the night. That's a title fight, and it's on pay-per-view. You make $2,200. So you're like, and that's not for that fight, that's for the entire night. So you've also ref 3 other fights before that to make this $2,100. So a lot of guys are like, it's just not financial. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense for me to go, especially think about like a Chuck Liddell, a Boss Rutan, a Tito Ortiz. You're like, dude, these guys used to make 5, 6, sometimes $1 million, $1.5 million every time they fought. Yeah. You think they're showing up for $450? Absolutely. To have this kind of pressure? You're like, wow. Dude, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So you really got to love it. It's a labor of love. You're not going to make any money on it. You make a car payment. In reality, you make a grocery bill. You're not getting rich. You're not buying boats. You're not buying fancy cars. It's just like a job. It's a hobby. Most men have hobbies. I mean, I'm sure you got a couple of hobbies that cost you and your family money.
Exactly.
This hobby makes me a little bit of money, but there's training, and you gotta fly to the East Coast and spend a bunch of money to go to the ABC meetings. You gotta do all these other things. Like every year, education doesn't stop. Like I said, I gotta spend 2 hours a day on a computer call. Still learning. Like it's just part of the process, what you have to do. So it's very difficult.
You know what? I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, you're doing it for a good cause. I mean, you love the sport, but you also want to protect the fighters. You want to help out. You're like that change. You get what I'm saying? Like you've seen stoppages that, should have been stopped a long time ago. And you're just like, what the hell is the ref doing? Yeah. And you've seen, especially fights lately that have gone the other way, and you're like, how do they judge like that? So it is sort of a problem, but again, you stepping in and doing this is a step towards that solution. So I applaud you for doing it.
It's a little frustrating when you look at these promotions, and I understand what they're doing because there's different commissions. Like let's take Texas for example. Texas has a lot of really good refs and judges down there, and they got to use their local guy. But we all know the best refs and the best judges. We all know this. If you follow the sport, you know who they are.
Yep.
Your best judge is going to be your Mike Bells, your Derek Cleary's, your Sal Diamato's, your Chris Lee's. Yep. Those are your best guys. Yep. So in your title fights, who are you going to have? You're going to fly those guys in. Like you're going to fly on your title fight. You'll have 2 of the spots will be handled by 2 of those 4 guys. That's how it should be. Mm-hmm. You should have these guys in there all the time. Reffing is the same thing, right? You know it's Goddard, you know it's Mugliata, you know it's Beltran, you know it's Herb Dean, you know it's Herzog. You fly those guys in, right? These are the guys you want to have on your title fights. But your local guy has to get work too. It's not fair to the local guy. The big show shows up. Bellator shows up in Oklahoma, and the local guy can't get a job. Like that doesn't make any sense. The local guy's got to work too. But then he's like, look, I've been working this circuit down here for 30 years. How come I'm not getting my call up? Well, because we think you can do the job, but we know this other guy can do the job. And that's how the problem. That's where the problem is. So, Texas has, like I said, Texas has a lot of great guys in it. It's very difficult though to get your step up when you've got UFC coming in town or Bellator coming in town because it's the better guys. You got to have the better guys. You got to have the better refs, the better judges. You just have to because these are very important, high dollar. You think Conor McGregor is going to get some guy that's only been reffing 50 fights? You think the Diaz brothers? Yeah. You think Alima Lane McFarland is going to? Look, are you kidding me? Like these are champs. Michael Chandler. They are the best. They need the best.
The best. Yeah, correct.
That's how it has to be. So
and it's another world if you think about it. I mean, I looked into thinking about like how the refs work and stuff. But again, like you put it in the best perspective. I mean, it's another level. And a lot of people don't see that, a lot of people are like, oh, that guy should have just been, the ref and this and that. But again, like you said, you made it, clear as day. Like it's not the same. It's clearly not the same.
Because a bad ref can screw a guy out of a lot of money. You can mess up. You can make the wrong winner. You can do it in such a fashion the wrong winner wins. You can do it in such a fashion that the guy is so hesitant because you keep yelling at him for something stupid that he can't pull the trigger anymore and he gets beat. Like you can interject yourself.
Yes.
And make it a bad decision. Gotcha. And to stop that from happening, the best guys get the job because the best guys don't do that.
Gotcha. Like you said, the best guys are the ones that they only remember that you ref the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
That's cool, man. Again, that's another perspective that's that could be taken into consideration. That's cool. And again, I applaud you for what you're doing now, especially refereeing. But let's talk about your stellar career. I mean, I know we went off topic, but it's awesome. I wanted to talk. That was the ending of the show, but that's cool. I mean, we went with it, and it's cool with it. Your career. What age did you start mixed martial arts, man? Why did you do it?
Well, mixed martial arts I didn't start until I was in my 30s.
Okay.
There was no mixed martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That the Jeff Blatnick didn't coin the term until 96 or 95. I was in college. So I was still wrestling. Like I didn't even start fighting until 96 or 97. Mm-hmm. So it was like 97. I started fighting on 97. So it was like it wasn't even MMA wasn't even a term yet. It was cage fighting. And that's all it was. That's all we knew what it was. We didn't have a real term yet for it. So I started Kung Fu when I was 6, real loose, real light, just because it's hyperactive and everything else going on. Mm-hmm. Then after a couple of years, we kept moving. Got into swimming for a while, and then got into wrestling when I was 12. And then kept wrestling the whole time until I started fighting. And it was like, oh, I better learn how to punch. So I learned how to start taking boxing lessons. Oh, crap, I better learn how to submit, or at least how to defend. So then I had to start rolling. It was like, so I learned everything. I didn't start learning anything really until 99.
99.
I started learning stuff. Yeah.
I think the best base to start off mixed martial arts is wrestling. I think if you're a wrestler, I mean, you're good.
Guys will argue with you all the time. They'll try. Oh no, striking is the best. I can knock you out from over here. I'm like, unless you knock me out with one punch, you're not hitting me with your second punch. The jab's gonna get off. I'm gonna run right through it. And then by the time you throw your right, I'm already underneath you. I got your legs, you're already back. Now what are you going to do? Well, striking's the best. So I just foot motion and blah, blah. And, man, I would beat Mike Tyson's ass. Like, I would have to throw a punch. I would beat the fuck out of him. He's going right to the ground. There's nothing to do about it.
That's it. Well, I mean, the perfect example was who was it, the boxer that
Randy Couture.
Randy Couture. He did I think it was an ankle pick, right?
Low single.
Yeah, it was nice little. He just took him down. That's it.
Yeah.
I remember that fight.
It was like, yeah, why are you gonna stand with a striker? That's just stupid.
What?
Like, take him down. Like, I know these guys when they fight other guys are like super good at striking. I'm like, this is dumb. Just take him down. You might win the first couple rounds, but eventually that guy's gonna catch you. He's gonna catch you. She's gonna catch you.
Yeah.
You got to figure this out real quick. Like, you don't think Joanna Jurczyk is gonna catch me at some point? She's gonna catch me at some point. What do you do with her? You grab her, you throw it out, you get on top of her. Stop her from hitting you. That's all you do. Yeah.
So you fought in so many organizations. I mean, you fought in Pride, you fought in Strike Force, you fought in WFA, which is World Fighting Alliance. I mean, you've been through all of them. Yeah. Which, I mean, we can, do a little by little, just dissect, nothing too crazy. Can you tell me what was the difference between each organization, or what did you find the most exciting, I guess we can say?
Well, the problem is you can't really say what the difference is between them, because back then there were so many promotions.
Okay.
So many fights. The UFC was only throwing 8 fights a year.
Yep.
Now that they threw 3 fights in 8 days, like a month ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely changed. Like, they're getting ready. I just look at their schedule. They are starting July 11th. They're every weekend, and a couple of Wednesdays thrown in all the way through till September.
Yeah.
You're like, all the way through. You're like, this is nuts. Like, they're throwing 5, 6, 7 fights a month now. They used to be there yearly when they first started, like 8 fights a year. Now they're doing that a month. Yeah. Like, okay, well, things have changed. You can't really say. So honestly, for me in my career, the best that I was treated, the best I was taken care of, the best that was Pride. But they also paid you in cash. And so it was this whole game of like, okay, now I got to get this money back in the country. You cannot claim a lot of it. You can hide a lot of it, because you always had this cash on you, just like bring it in and bring it out of the country, or drop it in the bank account when you're overseas, whatever, if you have an international bank account. So that for me was the best. Okay. But, I'm known for my fights in the UFC because the UFC is a juggernaut. They own all the Pride library.
Yep.
They own all the WFA library. They own all the Icon library. They basically have every single one of my fights. UFC owns every single one of my fights, whether I fought for them or not, except for Shuto, USWF, and there's one other one I'm forgetting. I apologize. There's one other one I'm forgetting. There's like 4 or 5 fights they don't have. They own all the rest. They because they bought everybody up.
Yeah.
They own everybody. Right? So you're like, okay, they got all my. There's nothing you can do about it. They're all on Fight Pass. You want to see my fights? Go on Fight Pass. They're all on there except for like the Jason Miller fight, the Roddy Lawler fight from Icon, both Hughes fights, both Dennis Hallman fights, one from WFA, one from UFC, the Trudeau fight, Fabio Iha fight. There was Pride 8. They own that. It's just like, this is how the game goes. Like, they own libraries. So it's tough to say which one was better or worse. They're all. This is years ago. The game has changed. Like, I got an argument. Well, I won't say his name. I got an argument with an old fighter. I was like, you got to understand that us in our prime, if we were fighting right now and we were in our prime, like how we were in our prime back then, we're not even middle of the pack. And these guys are former champs I'm talking to. I'm like, you guys aren't even middle of the pack. Like, there's no way you're winning the title right now. It's not happening. Like, no, but I got that. No, it doesn't matter. The game is adapted and changed and grown and adjusted, not only from the fighter, athlete, athletic, scientific standpoint, but from the promotional, business, financial standpoint. Everything is better. The numbers that the top guys are getting now wasn't even close. It's not even in the same ballpark of what the top guys were getting 10 years ago. It's a completely different animal now. Completely different.
Gotcha. Just again, everyone. Not that back then, no one had that certain style. I mean, some of them did, but now it's just nowadays, just like freak athletics. I mean, it's just the players and the fighters that are coming out now is beyond crazy. I mean,
look at big heavyweights. You take a look at a big heavyweight. Take like a Sean Merriman, for example. Played for the Chargers. He owns a promotion here in California called Lights Out Promotion. Okay. It is an amazing promotion. He has ex-football players that come on. Usually is one side of the co-main event and the main event are ex-football players that want to make the transition to MMA now out of the league, right? And he's like, the only reason why this works, because if they get signed to one of the big shows, they'll make as much money, if not more money, per year as they did playing in the NFL. Because that's the only reason why it works.
Gotcha.
If the money was not at the end of it, they'd be like, well, I'm just going to go buy and sell houses now. I'm just going to go buy and sell boats now. Like, why would I put my body through more damage to make no money? So back in the day when I was fighting, the transovers were non-existent because there's no money in comparison to these other sports.
Gotcha.
Now, compared to other sports, the top end are making better and better money. These guys are like, yeah, I can actually make money. If I become a star, you become a McGregor because he's a star right now. You become a McGregor.
That's it.
$50 million a year. Like, dude, like that's when I made the NFL. I was league minimum at 500,000, and I got scout team at 750. Then all of a sudden I was backup, so I made 1.1. Then my last year in the league, I was a starter. I made $2 million, and then I was out of the league. No one picked me up. He's like, so if I can make $50 million a year, like that's even more than I made in the NFL. Like I'm gonna do that. Like I have a shot at doing that. I'm so young, my body's still healthy. I can still do these things and they move on. So that's the reason why now we're starting to see better athletes, because it's like play football, play basketball, play baseball, MMA. You're like, I like MMA better. Now I can make this much money in it. Where before, guys like, I'm training in MMA, but I'm really a pitcher. I'm really gonna go play baseball. Like, okay, all right. Now guys are like making a decision way earlier. You talk to some of these cats now, they're 18, 20, 21 years old. Man, they're like, oh man, you're fighting with Dennis Holman, the first fight in WFA. Your second fight with him, blah, blah. They know your record and everything. Like, when did you start training? Oh, I started training at 6. You're 26 years old. You've been training for 20 years? It's like, yeah, I've been doing, and nothing but mixed martial arts. So only boxing, kickboxing, only catch wrestling, jiu-jitsu, only wrestling. That's it for 26 years, or for 20 years. That's it. You're like, no wonder you're so damn good. Like, you have a head and shoulders over the rest of us all the way. Like, it's just incredible. So, yeah, that's why the game has changed. Like, we just can't compete. Like, us at our prime, like, we're garbage. There's no way.
No, I would never. No, you're not garbage. I do like watching the old school UFC, like the UFC, like 52, stuff like that. I mean, those are always fun to watch, just to see how much the sport evolved as well. It's pretty, it evolved so quickly, and it's pretty crazy. And again, if you're a UFC fan, if you haven't seen Matt Hughes versus Frank Trigg too, I mean, that is one. I mean, I love that fight. Regardless of the outcome, I mean, both you guys were laying it down on the line. And can you explain a little bit, just in case no one ever watched that, or just what was going through your mind, or anything in that fight, if you do, because I know it was a crazy fight. I think Herb Dean it was Mario Yamazaki was the right. Yeah, he was.
So I've been pretty lucky. There's been 2 rule changes due to my fights. One of them was the Dennis Holman WFA fight. I need him as hard as I could, right in the bladder, like as hard as I possibly could. He was charging into me. He had split my lip open down the center. I was like, I needed a break, so I had to get him to back up off me. Okay. So I needed him as hard as I could in the bladder. He goes down like it was a groin shot. Literally time. At the time, the rules were, because we're using boxing rules at the time, like that, and they were still developing rules. Rules change all the time in MMA. Like we had a rule change this year, to be a new rule change next year. It's just what happens. And Larry sees a jumbotron. He sees it was on the belt, which is below the belt by the official rule, but it's not a groin shot. So unless you touch the cup, because we have to kick high, we got to punch in the stomach. Like, it's very difficult to stay away from below the belt because of the sport. But the real rule is, as long as you don't hit the cup, you're going to be okay. It's not a low blow, right? Okay. But that wasn't a solid rule yet. So when Holman goes down, he got hit. I win the fight. They're like, okay, we gotta make this so this is understandable. It's not below the belt. It's the cup. If you hit the cup, you hit the groin, male or female, that's a foul. Otherwise, you're totally fine. So that rule gets changed. Before the Matt Hughes Frank Trigg 2 fight at UFC 52, there were no flash knockouts. You never got hit and just dropped and the fight was over. That never happened. When I hit Matt and he dropped and I got on top of him, he's out. I see the whites of his eyes are rolled up. I'm like, I'm going to kill this guy if I keep hitting him hard. So I'm just going to back off because Mario's going to get here to stop it. I forgot for a moment, it's Matt fucking Hughes. Yeah. You got to kill that guy to put him away. I hit him hard enough to wake him back up again. And he's like right back into fight mode.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, this fight's over. This fight's over.
It happens.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in a fight. And then all of a sudden, the fight was over. This is like, God damn it! Like, but that's the name of the game. Like, that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, again, some guys have that instant. You hit someone so hard that you knock them out, but that second punch or that third punch, you punch them and you bring them back to life. It's the craziest shit.
Yeah. And so from that, after that, they went and had a re-conversation. They're like, okay, we got to start doing flash knockouts. Somebody drops. It's like the fight should be over because your body's shut down. I mean, that if you get hit and you fall down in boxing, it's automatically a 10-8 round. Mm-hmm. If you hit again and you fall down that same round, it's a 10-7, 10-6, 10-5. Obviously never gets to 10-5, 10-4 because the fight should be over at that point anyway. But that's why they have the 3 knockdown rule in a lot of the 6-rounders. They have a 3 knockdown rule in the round, is because it's just getting ridiculous. You're getting hit so bad now, we got to stop it. So why would they have that same kind of thing in MMA? Well, how do they do that? Because we can't do the 10-8 the same way. It's a different thing because the guy, he might get hit and fall to his back, but obviously he's got an arm bar. So like we're calling it a 10-8, but really he won because he was arm barred and triangle plata from the bottom the whole time. You can't. So it's a different scoring system than boxing. So to fix that, they're like, okay, we have to start doing flash knockouts. And then flash knockouts became the rule after that. Right. And now it's kind of a thing like, okay, dude, this fight's over. Like you fell down, I gave you warnings. I told you to try to defend back. You weren't defending back. Just kept getting cracked. Fight's over.
Gotcha. There was a fight between Ben Askren and Robbie Lawler. Remember that fight where it looked like he went out? Did you think he went out? I mean, it was just as a referee.
We had a point of procedure change because of that fight. So now we have a different procedure than we used to do. If we can't tell, now we grab your arm and we pull your arm and put it in a place it shouldn't be in. Like your arm shouldn't be there. Okay. So we grab your arm and move it. If you resist and pull your arm back, we know you're still awake. Gotcha. If you give us your arm and you let us leave it out there, fight's over. We're done. We'll play that now in the background, in the locker room. You get caught in a choke, and I can't see what's going on. I can't tell if you're awake or not. I'm going to grab a body part. I'm going to move it. I'm not going to hurt you, but I'm going to move it. And if you don't move it back, fight's over. So if you're trying to play possum, and you let me move your arm and let me move your leg, you just leave it out there, but you're still awake. You fooled me, fight's over. That's on you. You fooled me. Hey, man, sorry, you fooled me. I don't know. Left your arm out there. I told you the back. But if you pull your arm back, I know you're still good. You're still fighting. I give you another chance. You continue to fight. Yeah, but that fight, that Askren-Lawler fight, changed the ruling. Now, was Robbie out? I don't think so. I do see what Herb was saying when he put his hand down. I do see it, but you also have to remember something else. For every ref that is at home watching on TV with a bourbon in one hand and a chicken wing in the other, that referee is standing right over the top of it, looking right at it, so he knows more than I do. Yeah. And anybody that tries to argue with the ref about what he saw when he is sitting right there is an idiot. That's what the ref saw. He's got the best view. He's got a better view than the camera. He is on top of it. He's seeing stuff that we can't see at home. Yeah. So like if Herb says he's out, even though I don't agree he's out, he's out. Herb said he's out, he's out. There's no argument there. I can't argue with it. But I can argue procedure. I can argue how he handled the situation. I can argue it could be done better in the future, but there's nothing else to argue about. There's nothing else to discuss. He saw it. You were there. I wasn't there. And you'll get some guys like, well, I was judging. Yeah, but you were 20 feet away. It was the other side of the cage, and it was behind you, and you're looking at Herb's ass. Like, what do you actually know? Like, what do you actually see? Well, no, I saw blah, blah. Okay, all right.
Well, that was like that
one. Judges still know more than we do.
Mm-hmm. And the other one was the Tim Sylvia fight, Frank Mir.
Yeah, he broke his arm.
Yeah. I mean, again, everyone in that arena was like, oh, why'd you stop it? Even Tim Sylvia was like, why'd you stop it? Then they look at the Jumbotron and like, oh, shit, no, you're right. You stopped it for a reason. Like, again, like you said, I mean, he's there. He's right in front, you know?
And that's why Herb is, honestly, right now, I mean, I have a lot of guys who are friends of mine. They're refs. Like, I want to say Herzog. I want to say Beltran. You know, I want to say Blake Rice. But the reality of it is that Herb Dean is the best ref right now. It's between him and Goddard, internationally, you know, worldwide, because of situations like that. They've been there before. Mm-hmm. Remember, this fight we're talking about with Sylvia and Frank Mir was like
2000.
It was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 20 years ago. So think how long Herb's been reffing. You're like,
You
okay,
don't even think about that, but it's true.
you're kind of good at what you do. I'm not gonna argue with him. We kind of let you go. Like, you kind of know what's going on, and you've been around for all the rule change. You've been around for everything gets different. Like, he knows how everything works. So it's like he's like, remember we used to be able to do this? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I can't do that anymore. Remember you used to be able to do this? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You're around during those days. Yeah, you're around where you can head stomp and kick a guy in the face when he's on the ground and knee him in the head and old school pride rules. I remember those were still around. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Vicious. Those days. But again, like you said, it's all about perspective, and again, those were two.
I gotta ask you a question.
What's up?
This Tennessee Titan crap is over your shoulder.
Oh man, don't say Tennessee Titans, right, man?
Oh, you got rid of Moriarty, so I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
How bad is it? 'Cause I know you're in Dallas. How bad is it? We're in Tennessee Titans stuff in Dallas Cowboys country.
It's not. It's bad, but if you notice, I have right there on the corner. It's when I went to a Monday night game, right? It was the Cowboys versus Tennessee. It was right before my birthday, and I was getting so much shit from people. They're like, "Oh, Tennessee," and they played really bad that game, but we ended up winning. So what I did, I grabbed a terrible towel. I put an X on the star, and then I put the final score, and I circled the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, but they give me crap. I mean, I lived in Miami, and I thought the Miami fans were pretty bad, but Dallas takes the cake, man. These people. I mean, again, they love the Titan. I mean, they love the Cowboys, but still, it's kind of obnoxious. Especially when I go to work, it's the best when they lose, because there's no one talks. When the Cowboys lose, no one talks. It's the best. But when they win,
it's funny how with Texas and their sports, it's like it's a rite of passage. If you're from Houston, man, you got like the Oilers. If you're from here, you got like the you're like, dude, like it's not that big of a deal. You can change teams. It's just a sport. Like it's not. No, it's not. This is life.
Yeah, they're obnoxious with that. So
I have some friends who are Cowboys fans, is why I'm asking, and they're like, obnoxious as all balls. I can't. Sometimes I watch it. It's like, who do you like? You know, Buffalo Bills, Atlanta Falcons, and anybody that's playing the Dallas Cowboys.
There it is. That's what every Sunday, any team that's playing against the Cowboys, I'm going for that team. You know, it's something like that, man. I
do it just to be annoying.
I do so. I have especially people that take it really serious and get really upset with me. I'll be like, "Oh, how about them Cowboys? Oh, doesn't look good." And they're like, "Oh, shut up!" And they just walk away.
What do you know? We have a real team.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, when's the last time you won the Super Bowl?" Like, all right, you can use that, whatever. But it's funny shit.
Well, try to be a Buffalo fan. Who was the Super Bowl? I couldn't even tell you. I just think we lost 4 in a row. That's all I can tell you.
Hey, at least you guys got there.
We were the best losers 4 years in a row.
I remember watching that documentary on ESPN. It was pretty funny.
That hurts my feelings to watch that crap.
Yeah.
But I still support him. Still a fan. You know, just hurts. I'm getting a little hot talking about it right now. A little hot.
Man.
Yeah.
So, how was it? Let's go back into UFC, because you're a Hall of Famer, and that's something really, really cool.
Well, that's because the Hughes part 2 fight got me in.
I mean, you think so? I don't think so. I think regardless, I think you were still a good fighter. I mean, you fought GSP, you fought Matt Serra, you fought a bunch of. I mean,
Koscheck and Hughes. But you know, when you look at my record in the UFC, it wasn't very good. I think I was like 2-4 or something in the UFC. So it's not that good. You know, as far as UFC goes, it's the stuff I've done outside the UFC that actually. So if there was I think there is, but I'm not an MMA Hall of Fame, that'd be a different deal. Mm-hmm. But for the UFC, I wasn't getting the Hall of Fame. I didn't win a bunch of championships. I didn't get a bunch of stuff. And then, honestly, when they introduced the fight wing, I thought for sure it was going to be Shogun and Henderson were the first fight in. I thought for sure that was going to be the first fight, because to me that was the best fight that's ever happened of all time. But fortunately for me, my fight with Matt is still Dana White's favorite fight, so it gets me in. You know, and that was a blessing in disguise. So, but yeah, I never thought I was going to get the UFC Hall of Fame. It was never going to happen, not for me.
And it's awesome, man. I have I think it's top. I think I have it on Blu-ray in my house. The top 100 best UFC fights. I think that's like top 3.
It's 3. It's number 3, I think, on that one.
Yep.
Griffin, Stephen Bonner's 1, and
yep.
I
I
forget
think
what's two.
Chuck Liddell and Vanderlei Silva, I think, was number 2 or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm proud of it. It's not bad. My eldest son talks to me about it all the time. He's like, it's just like one of those deals. Like, yep, it's just, the name is attached. Will be for the rest of history. So.
Well, that's cool, man. And again, you went on after UFC. I mean, you did Pride, and then you said you did the Icon. You had the fight with Robbie Lawler, which was just brutal, man. That looks like it just takes like years off of fighters and stuff, especially when
Yeah,
you
that one
go.
almost killed me. That's I almost died that fight. Like so he split my nose open. So he cut me. He cut me with an uppercut. I couldn't get my head out of the way fast enough. He cut me with an uppercut and split my nose open this way, so it peeled. And then and that was like in the second round, and I kept fighting. I didn't get knocked out
Round.
before.
Yep.
And so I'm still fighting, but the whole time you don't realize that you're inhaling blood the whole time. And so finally I get knocked out, taken to the hospital. I'm waking up, and they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do with the blood in my lungs, how they get it aspirated out. So it was like this whole thing of like trying to get all this crap out of my lungs, and wasn't gonna cause problems or was gonna happen. And she was like, dude, it was a fucking mess. And they're trying to stitch my nose closed, and it was a mess. Like it was like people talk about cutting weight and being close to death when you're cutting weight. Like that fight legitimately, all seriousness, almost killed me. That fight was a defining moment. That one took a lot of years off my life. Like that was after that fight, I was like, dude, like I don't know how much I got left in this. And then so when that Matt Lawler, I fought Miller,
You knocked him out.
Musashi, and then fought Lawler, all within 4 months of each other, and they were all top 10. Miller was 10th, Musashi was 2, and had just beat Henderson when I fought him, and then fought Lawler, who was like 5th at 80. All ranked, ranked at 805 pounds. I was like, dude.
Yeah.
But the other thing I found out later is that I was one of the first guys that was ranked at 2 different weight classes. I was ranked at 170. I was ranked at 185.
Oh, there you go.
He's like that didn't happen before that. It really didn't happen that much because no one really bounced weight classes. Kind of stayed put. And what I did is I lost to Carlos Condit, was ranked at 170.
I remember that.
Took 8 months off. I'm like, I'm not going to fight anymore. I'm just pretty much done with this fight. Like I don't have the game anymore. And then TJ Thompson, the promoter for Icon, called me. He's like, hey, do you want to make a couple bucks fighting? I was like, who am I fighting? He's like, Jason Miller. I'm like, hold on, what weight? Still 185. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can make 185. And I didn't realize I was 232 pounds.
Wow.
I had been doing nothing but hanging out and enjoying life. I was like, wow, I put a lot of weight on. I don't know if I can make weight now. And so I spent the whole camp trying to get weight off. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, I remember that Jason Mayhem Miller fight. I mean, again, he's a tricky fighter. Those tall, lanky, those guys, man, they could take a beating and stuff, and they're really dangerous.
He takes a bigger beating than most. And when he fought GSP, he got his ass kicked for 3 rounds, and there was not even one moment where he thought he was going to give up. And there was not one moment in that entire fight where GSP thought he had him.
Yep.
He was like, not entirely the entire fight. From the very beginning to the very end, I never thought I was winning. I never thought that I had him beat. He was always still in the fight. Blood everywhere, skull cracked.
Smiling and stuff. He had the grills. That was the one where he had the mouthpiece. You remember he had the grills? It was funny.
Yeah.
I remember that. And then I remember seeing the post-fight after, and he talked to someone on the phone. He's like, I got my ass kicked, and he was laughing about it. But, I mean, that's
the attitude you got to have, though. You got to have fun with it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you still talk to any the other fighters by any chance, or no? You kind of.
I talk to Couture once a month or twice a month. Of course, we're in the same industry right now, so we still communicate. I see fighters all the time when I'm reffing, so I see these guys all the time. So I see Cub Swanson corners a lot of guys, and Brian Ortega corners a lot of guys, and Joe Daddy Stevenson corners a lot of guys. So I see these guys all the time. Henderson, I see him every time we're in Apachina Resort for a fight because he lives right there, so he comes over. So yeah, I still see a lot of these guys casually. I don't really per se talk to him constantly a long time. Jay Haran is probably the guy I talk to the most because we work together a lot. We're always trying to get each other jobs. We both do stunts and acting, and those stuff will come across. Like we'll get a notice. Hey, we're looking for, a light-skinned black guy that's over 6 foot that can do this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, that's Jay Haran. And I'm like, hey, Jay, call this guy. He's looking for you.
Gotcha.
Jay, like, oh yeah, we need this look, and they'll dump. He's like, no, Trigg, this is you. He gives me the job. So we try to help each other out quite a bit. There's a couple other fighters like Alex Schonauer is in stunts too. Tate Fletcher, Keith Jardine. I work with these guys a lot, so I see them quite a bit. But we don't talk like Like I can call Tate anytime I want to. Anytime I want to, I can call him, get home,
Mm-hmm.
and he will pick up the phone, right? And we'll talk. And I have a question. I give him a specific thing, but it's not like Keith and Tate are really close friends. Like they hang out, they go to drinks together, they go to dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have that specifically because where I live is kind of isolated from everybody else. I did it on purpose. I kind of stay away because everything I do in my life is violent. I'm at a fight, it's violence all day. I'm on set, I'm doing action. You know, it's a huge amount of action, so it's all violence. And it's dangerous stuff. So when I come home, I want to be in a spot where it's quiet, I'm left alone, I'm chill, I don't have to worry about it. I can go shoot my guns up at the gun range, it's not a problem. If I want to go fishing, I go jump in my boat, go fishing. You know, it's like I can be real quiet out here. So a lot of guys live by here because there's no gyms down here.
Gotcha.
So there's no, like, why would you, if you're going to train Kings MMA, you're not living down here, living up by Kings MMA. You want to train at Brian Ortega's spot, you're living over in Lawndale. Like you're going over there. You want to train with at Black House, you got to live over in Redondo. So like no one really lives down here because no one wants to drive an hour each way for your workouts. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah, I get you. But again, that's again, I want to thank you, man, we'll probably wrap this up now because I know you again, like you said, you have the Zoom meetings and stuff, and I don't want to.
It's an all day. Today's just a day.
I want to keep you from that, but I do appreciate it coming on and just talking. I had fun, and again, I learned a couple things new, man, about especially fighting and refereeing, man. It's another ball game. So again, I want to say thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, and hope to do it again soon with something. Hopefully, all this COVID is over, and we're able to be back out at fights, and I'm able to be roughing again, and we do it again.
Yeah. Again, would love you back on whenever you're free again. Maybe later on, we'll talk about some fights and stuff like that, and that'll be pretty cool. But again,
yeah, absolutely.
So much, man.